Right now, at this very moment, astronauts aboard the International Space Station are living without things you've done a dozen times already today. Simple things, normal things, things so basic you never even think about them. But in space, everything changes. Tears are how we express emotion, sadness, joy, frustration. On Earth, tears roll down your cheeks and fall away. It's natural, it's cleansing. In space, tears don't fall. They can't. There's no gravity to pull them down. Instead, tears form a liquid ball that sticks to your eyeball. The salt stings. The bubble grows. It blocks your vision and creates serious discomfort. Astronauts have to physically wipe tears away with tissues or towels, but even then, the moisture clings to their skin. Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield described it perfectly. The tears just accumulate around your eyes in a blob. They sting, and they don't shed. Imagine crying during a moment of homesickness, missing your family 250 miles below, and not even being able to properly release that emotion. That's the reality up there. After a long day, there's nothing quite like a hot shower. The water cascading over you, washing away the stress and sweat. It's one of life's simple pleasures. Astronauts give that up completely. Water is scarce in space. Every drop has to be transported from Earth at enormous cost. But even if water was unlimited, showers would be impossible. Without gravity, water doesn't flow down. It floats everywhere in spherical droplets, creating a dangerous mess inside the sealed environment of the spacecraft. So how do astronauts stay clean for months at a time? Wet wipes, no-rinse shampoo, pre-mixed soapy water in pouches. They essentially give themselves sponge baths, carefully controlling every drop of moisture. The excess water that escapes during hair washing gets captured and recycled through the water processing system, eventually becoming drinking water. Think about that. 6 months without a proper shower, your skin itching, your hair greasy, all while working 12-hour shifts in a confined space with dozens of other people. You'd think writing would be simple enough. Grab a pen, put it to paper, done. Not in space. In the 1960s, NASA discovered that regular ballpoint pens don't work in zero gravity. The ink needs gravity to flow from the cartridge through the tip onto the paper. Without that downward pull, the pen is useless. Pencils seemed like the obvious solution, but they created their own problems. Broken graphite tips could float into sensitive electronics or into an astronaut's eyes or lungs. The wooden casing was flammable, a terrifying risk in the oxygen-rich environment of a spacecraft. NASA's solution was brilliant. They developed the Fisher Space Pen, a specially engineered writing instrument that uses pressurized nitrogen gas to push ink toward the tip. It writes in any position, even upside down, in temperatures from -30 degrees to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and even underwater. A simple pen required complete redesign just to function beyond Earth's atmosphere. Bread is a staple of human civilization. Sandwiches, toast, dinner rolls. We eat bread every single day without thinking twice. It's completely banned in space. The reason is simple but critical. Bread creates crumbs. Those crumbs float in zero gravity, drifting through the air, getting into equipment, floating into eyes and noses, potentially being inhaled into lungs. In a sealed environment where you can't just open a window, floating breadcrumbs become a genuine hazard. The only people who ever enjoyed bread in space were the astronauts on NASA's 1965 Gemini 3 mission. John Young smuggled a corned beef sandwich on board. It caused such problems with floating crumbs that bread was permanently banned from all future missions. Instead, astronauts use tortillas. They're less crumbly, can be rolled up, and work perfectly for making space sandwiches or wraps. Mexican food saved space dining. After a stressful day, some people enjoy unwinding with a beer or glass of wine. It's a normal part of adult life on Earth. NASA regulations strictly prohibit alcohol in space. The reasoning goes beyond just maintaining professionalism. In zero gravity, blood circulation works differently. On Earth, gravity helps pull blood throughout your body in predictable patterns. In space, without that gravitational pull, blood distribution changes dramatically. Alcohol affects the body differently in these conditions. The intoxication could be unpredictable and potentially dangerous. when you're operating equipment worth billions of dollars, when a single mistake could kill everyone aboard. When split-second decisions matter, there's zero tolerance for anything that impairs judgment. These missions cost hundreds of millions of dollars. The stakes are too high for happy hour. Carbonated beverages seem harmless enough. A Coke, a Sprite, some bubbles to make things interesting. They don't work in space. When you open a can of soda in zero gravity, the carbon dioxide bubbles don't rise to the top and escape like they do on Earth. Instead, they remain suspended throughout the liquid. When astronauts drink carbonated beverages, those bubbles stay in their stomachs, causing painful bloating and digestive discomfort. The body can't process carbonation normally without gravity. What would be a minor inconvenience on Earth becomes genuinely painful in orbit. Astronauts have reported that the gas buildup creates pressure that's difficult to relieve and extremely uncomfortable. So, no Coca-Cola, no champagne to celebrate mission milestones, just water, juice, and coffee. At the end of every day, you climb into bed, pull up the covers, rest your head on a pillow, and drift off to sleep. Your body sinks into the mattress. It's comfortable. It's familiar. Astronauts strap themselves into sleeping bags attached to walls. There are no beds in space because there's no lying down without gravity. Up and down become meaningless concepts. Astronauts sleep in vertical sleeping bags, horizontal sleeping bags, or any orientation in between. It doesn't matter because their bodies don't press against anything. Astronaut Jerry Linenger said one of the hardest adjustments after returning to Earth was the pain of lying in a bed. After months of floating while sleeping, the sensation of gravity pushing his body into a mattress was actually painful. His body had forgotten what it felt like to be pressed down. In space, astronauts also experience 16 sunrises and sunsets every 24 hours because the ISS orbits Earth every 90 minutes. Natural sleep cycles become impossible. They have to follow strict schedules and use sleep masks to block out the constant cycle of light and darkness outside their windows. Using the bathroom is perhaps the most private, routine thing humans do. On Earth, it's simple. Gravity does most of the work. In space, astronauts have to strap themselves to the toilet. The space toilet uses powerful suction to ensure waste goes where it's supposed to go, instead of floating around the cabin. Astronauts position themselves carefully, strap in to maintain contact with the seat, and let the vacuum system do its job. Before technology improved, early astronauts wore diapers called maximum absorbency garments. Even today, astronauts wear these during spacewalks that can last 9 hours or more. There's no bathroom break when you're outside the spacecraft in a pressurized suit. The toilet situation requires training. Astronauts actually practice using the space toilet before launch because getting it wrong could create a catastrophic mess. Imagine human waste floating freely through the International Space Station. The cleanup would be a nightmare, and the health risks would be serious. It's not glamorous, but it's reality. Food is one of life's great pleasures. The taste of a perfectly cooked meal, your favorite dish, the flavors that bring back memories. Astronauts lose much of their sense of taste in space. NASA reports that after spending time in zero gravity, astronauts consistently report that food tastes bland. When they return to Earth, they often complain that everything tastes too strong. Their taste buds have adapted to the muted flavors of space. The leading theory is that the lack of gravity affects how fluids distribute in the body, including in the nasal passages. Since smell is crucial to taste, the congestion-like symptoms many astronauts experience in space dull their ability to taste food properly. This is why space food tends to be heavily seasoned. Astronauts request extra spicy foods, extra salt, anything to make meals more flavorful. But even then, eating becomes more about nutrition than enjoyment. Speaking of seasoning, you can't use regular salt and pepper shakers in space. The granules would float everywhere, getting into equipment, eyes, and lungs. A simple shake of the salt shaker would create a cloud of tiny particles drifting through the cabin. Instead, astronauts use liquid salt and pepper. The seasonings are dissolved in water or oil, allowing astronauts to add flavor without creating a hazard. It's not quite the same as sprinkling fresh ground pepper on your meal, but it's the only safe option. Even the simplest aspects of dining require complete rethinking in zero gravity. Your body is built to work against gravity. Every step you take, every time you stand up, every movement fights against Earth's pull. Your muscles and bones stay strong because they're constantly working. In space, that resistance disappears. Astronauts lose bone density and muscle mass at an alarming rate. Without intervention, they would return to Earth unable to walk. Their bones would be brittle, their muscles atrophied. That's why exercise is mandatory. Astronauts spend up to 3 hours every day working out on specialized equipment, treadmills with harnesses that pull them down, resistance machines that use vacuum canisters instead of weights, stationary bikes that provide cardiovascular training. It's not optional, it's survival. Without rigorous daily exercise, astronauts would physically deteriorate to the point where returning to Earth's gravity could be fatal. For the first few days in space, astronauts develop what's called puffy face syndrome. On Earth, gravity pulls fluids down toward your feet. In space, without that downward pull, fluids redistribute evenly throughout the body. Blood and other fluids that normally pool in the lower body shift upward, causing faces to swell and become noticeably puffy. Astronauts look like they have bad head colds or allergies. Their faces are rounder, their eyes slightly swollen. Some describe feeling congested even though they're not sick. After a few weeks, the body adapts and the puffiness decreases, but it never completely goes away. Every astronaut photograph from space shows this characteristic facial swelling. It's a visible reminder that the human body wasn't designed for zero gravity. Your cardiovascular system evolved to pump blood against gravity. Your heart works harder to push blood up to your brain when you're standing. Blood vessels constrict and dilate to manage pressure. In space, the cardiovascular system gets confused. Without gravity, the heart doesn't need to work as hard. Blood pressure drops. The heart actually shrinks slightly because it's not pumping against resistance. Blood vessels lose tone. This creates problems when astronauts return to Earth. Many experience dizziness and fainting when they first stand up after landing. Their cardiovascular systems have to readapt to working against gravity, and that process takes time. Some astronauts require assistance walking after long-duration missions because their bodies have forgotten how to regulate blood pressure in a gravitational field. Here's something that surprises most people. Astronauts grow taller in space. On Earth, gravity compresses your spine throughout the day. The discs between your vertebrae get squeezed, making you slightly shorter by evening than you were in the morning. In space, without gravitational compression, the spine stretches out. Astronauts can grow up to 2 inches taller during long-duration missions. The discs between vertebrae expand, lengthening the spine. This sounds great until you consider the consequences. The spine stretching causes back pain. Muscles and ligaments that support the spine aren't used to the extended length. Many astronauts report significant discomfort from their bodies, literally growing in ways they weren't designed to. When they return to Earth, gravity compresses their spines back to normal height, but the process is painful. Burping is a natural way the body releases gas from the stomach. On Earth, gravity separates gas from liquid in your stomach. The gas rises, you burp, problem solved. In space, gas and liquid don't separate. When astronauts try to burp, they risk what's called a wet burp. The gas comes up, but so does liquid from the stomach. It's essentially vomiting, and it's disgusting and dangerous in zero gravity. Astronauts learn very quickly not to burp. They have to let gas work its way through their digestive system naturally, which can be uncomfortable but is far better than the alternative. Fire behaves completely differently in zero gravity. On Earth, hot air rises, creating the familiar teardrop shape of a candle flame. The rising hot air pulls in fresh oxygen from below, sustaining combustion. In space, hot air doesn't rise because there's no up or down. A candle flame in zero gravity forms a perfect sphere. It burns blue instead of yellow, and without the convection current bringing in fresh oxygen, it quickly suffocates itself. This isn't just a curiosity. It has serious implications for fire safety. Fires in space are incredibly dangerous because they behave unpredictably. Astronauts train extensively on fire suppression because fire aboard the ISS could be catastrophic. Pouring a glass of water is so automatic you don't even think about it. Tip the container, gravity pulls the liquid down, it fills the glass. In space, liquid doesn't pour, it floats. Astronauts drink from sealed pouches with straws, or from specially designed cups that use surface tension to hold liquid in place. They can't just tip a glass and drink because the liquid would float away in spherical blobs. Even drinking requires complete relearning of basic motor skills. Laundry is a weekly chore for most people. Dirty clothes go in the washer, come out clean. Life continues. There are no washing machines in space. Well, technically, there might be one or two small ones, but they're shared among dozens of people and rarely used. Astronauts wear the same clothes for days or even weeks at a time. Underwear gets changed more frequently, but outer garments are worn until they're absolutely filthy. Then they're thrown away. Used clothing gets packed into cargo ships that burn up in Earth's atmosphere during re-entry. It's literally garbage that gets incinerated. The lack of laundry facilities means astronauts have to carefully ration their clothing supply for the entire mission duration. This seems obvious, but think about what it really means. Walking is humanity's primary form of movement. It's how we've explored, migrated, and built civilizations. In space, walking is impossible. Astronauts float from place to place. They push off walls and glide through modules. They use handrails to pull themselves along. But the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other and walking doesn't exist. When astronauts return to Earth after long missions, they have to relearn how to walk. Their brains have adapted to three-dimensional movement in zero gravity. The concept of a floor, of up and down, of walking in a straight line, all of that has to be relearned. Some astronauts require weeks of physical therapy to walk normally again. Finally, perhaps the most psychologically challenging aspect of space life is the complete lack of privacy. On Earth, you can close a door to be alone and have personal space. In space, you're constantly surrounded by other people in an area smaller than most houses. Sleeping quarters are separated by curtains, not walls. Conversations can be overheard throughout the modules. There's nowhere to go to truly be alone with your thoughts. The psychological toll of this constant proximity is significant. NASA carefully screens astronauts for their ability to handle close quarters and work cooperatively, but even the most well-adjusted people struggle with months of zero privacy. This is why astronauts develop such strong bonds with their crewmates. They have no choice but to become family because they're living closer together than most families ever do. These 20 sacrifices represent just a fraction of what astronauts endure to explore space. They give up comfort, privacy, and basic human experiences to push the boundaries of what's possible. That's true courage. If you respect their sacrifice, hit that subscribe button.